Today, much like the last couple of weeks, we have got an unbelievably special, yet powerful, spiritual, glamorous, incredible, informative guest, which is my good friend, Dayana Carmona, the holistic coach queen. Dayana, before we kick this off, how are you feeling? What's your energy levels like at the moment?
Yeah, I am feeling very calm. Thank you for that introduction, by the way. That was so nice to hear all of that.
It's all true. It's all true. There's never any need to pre-plan any introduction like that because I just think, right, Dayana, who is she? What's she like?
Who is she?
Boom, 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 boom. And it just rolls off the tongue. Dayana, we're talking about something really special today, right? Now, we are specifically talking about how to become a holistic coach. You have given us some very powerful and informative information over the last couple of weeks. All of our listeners have had the pleasure and the treat of being able to learn from you and be with you for the last couple of weeks. But what you've done is you've given us a great introduction to holistic coaching. You know, what is it? How can it be utilized? The power of holistic coaching. But I'm sure at this point, there is a big question that a lot of people have at the forefront of their minds. And that's, but how do I become a holistic? That's the question, right? And at the end of this episode, we're going to be sharing with people some details, maybe at the end, maybe in the middle, who knows, about something that's completely free, very, very valuable, and 100% live, where they have an opportunity to learn from you directly. So we'll definitely come on to that. Let's kind of tiptoe into this, into understanding how you first became a holistic coach, because I know that you've had an involvement in so many different elements of holistic modalities, you know, and different studies as well. What would you say is the moment where you then realized, I'm a holistic coach? This is what I do. This is the kind of coaching that I offer. Was there a moment for you where it was almost like the penny dropped and you realized that? Or was it always the mission? Was it always the goal to become an holistic coach?
So funny enough, it was both of it and also the intention of going there, of the intention of doing that. The intention was there. However, I didn't know that it was going to be called holistic coaching or with the word holistic in front of it. When I got accredited as a coach, I had just finished my 200-hour yoga teacher training, and I was going to school and everything. And then because of the 200-hour yoga teacher training, I knew going into that training that I wanted to teach yoga, but at the same time, I wanted to learn to teach yoga and everything that has to do about yoga, because I wanted to put it into practice within my counseling field. So once I graduated and everything. And then when I got accredited as a coach, it was like the best opportunity for me to start experimenting with it and to start applying what I had already been learning instead of waiting to finish my degree, essentially. And when I finished and I graduated as a coach, I was trying to find what kind of coach I wanted to be. You know, some people were like, I want to be a mindset coach, or I want to be a performance coach. And they all kind of knew what they wanted. And I was like, I don't know what the heck to call me, because I wanted to integrate yoga and Reiki into my practice, into coaching, but I don't know what that means. And funny enough, Lewis was the one that helped me pick that name. At that point in my life, it was him saying, okay, you like yoga, you like this. Let's try to find a word that combines, these teachings. I was like, yeah, I think the connection between mind, body, and soul are so important. And he's like, okay, let's look for something like that. And he was like, what about holistic lifestyle coach? And at that point, when I graduated, I decided to call myself a holistic lifestyle coach, because I was teaching or helping entrepreneurs find balance in their lives and create that balance that they're still looking for through all of these modalities. And so that's how the holistic coaching came about for me.
Love that. I love that. I mean, that in itself is a very holistic thing, right? It happened naturally. It happened organically. It was with someone that you love, giving you some ideas and some inspiration, and obviously someone who really knows what they're talking about, being Lewis. And so it kind of felt like that was like I always get these very clear visuals in my head. And I just see that as almost like vines kind of growing elegantly up a structure. You know, it's like the structure was always there, but we needed the thing to grow, and we needed it to be holistic and green and all of these really incredible organic feelings, because that's what it's about, right? And it's very much about becoming, this again is like my training in my head from being an actor. There was this one particular exercise we did, which was called getting grounded. And so what you would do is you would stand up on the stage and you would purposefully press your feet into the stage in order to try to imagine your feet becoming rooted into the stage like a tree, so that the stage became a part of you, and therefore it didn't feel like an alien environment. It felt right. And so holistic coaching, I very much see as a very powerful way of trying to do that in your life, you know, to become grounded in your life and to become present and to actually be able to really see the things that are happening around you and appreciate them and to understand your emotions and your feelings. And you've shared so much powerful stuff on this over the last couple of weeks that, like I mentioned, no doubt we've got a lot of people listening thinking, well, how can I do this? How can I get involved? When it comes to the Coach Masters podcast, I'm talking all the time about becoming a coach and how to become a coach and the benefits of that. And I can imagine there are a lot of listeners that listen to it and are attracted to the idea, but yet the style of coaching that I'm talking about maybe isn't resonating with them. Because really what they're looking for is they're looking for that more holistic style of coaching, which is, of course, what you do and which is what you teach. Would you say that there's a particular type of person, maybe there is, maybe there isn't, that tends to gravitate towards holistic coaching or being a holistic coach or just that holistic world? And I know that's kind of difficult because it's like, how do we describe an individual without creating labels? But is there a type of person that you think really fit into this world?
I think there's not much of a type of person, because I think anybody is capable of doing it. I think it's more of what that person is looking for in their life, or what they're feeling that they need or that they want to do. And it's that type of person, I guess you would say, it's like that wants to be of service. That person that loves, that's the feeling that comes into, that loves to help others, to be there for others, that really cares for other people. The empath, I would say, the one that is open and to new experiences, open to learning, and they're a student of life and they don't mind just keep on learning and doing that stuff. And maybe because that's kind of like I'm describing myself in that way. And I think that's kind of like the person that would love this as well. It's just that person that are open to different teachings, to different cultures, to different traditions, to different approaches to life. Students that love to learn, that want to take on things and practicing them on themselves. And they see that there's a need as well in this world for just to be there for other people, right? Because there is so much need in this world to just want to do something good in this world, to be purposeful, right? And not because it's technically your purpose, but to be purposeful for something that ultimately it's for the greater good. Yeah. And it's a mixture of being and also a feeling that people get. It's just this wanting and just caring for others, I would say.
I love that. That's just such an incredible answer, because there are going to be all sorts of different people listening to this that wouldn't fit into a particular bracket or particular labels if we were to say it's one type of person or two types of people. But so many different types of people could understand that level of wanting to grow and wanting to improve themselves and wanting to contribute, you know, and wanting to be purposeful and wanting to learn, you know, and just be a student of life. Now, for everybody that's listening to this on the podcast, just think, is that you? That's what I want you to answer inside of your own heads right now. Is that you? Are you a student of life? Are you willing to grow and to learn and to discover and to therefore contribute for the greater good and be purposeful? Is that you? Because if you're listening to this on the podcast, you know that I record this live every single Thursday, because I can pretty much guarantee that if someone at any stage of their life has generated any form of interest in coaching whatsoever, they must on some level relate to that. They have to, because they've already crossed an invisible line and said, I'm willing to learn and I'm willing to do something better and more fulfilling. So I can imagine so many people are going to resonate with this, hence why the special secret free training that you've got coming up, which we're going to share in a moment, is going to be just off the charts. You know, it really is. So many people are going to be really into it, because how could you not want to be a student of life? Like, Dayana, where do you think you would be today if you had never once discovered a thirst for growth and transformation and change and being a student of life? If you had never had a thirst for that, where do you think you would be?
Honestly, I'd probably just be stuck with my life not moving anywhere, stuck with like lacking clarity of who I am as well, not being able to truly understand myself or know myself, stuck with my direction in life, I would say, because when you learn, you get more direction and you get clear on the path that you are going with, of the path of your life, basically. You get clear on what you want, on what you don't want, on what you need and what you don't need, right? And you get so much clarity, and you also get to know yourself in a much deeper level as well, because you take on what you learn and apply it in your life. Or maybe you don't, depending on, you take what you need, leave what you don't. But without you learning new things, that I wouldn't be able to know exactly who I am, because I can take some things and be like, oh, wow, that I can reflect upon it and be like, oh, that's me. I can mirror myself into that. Or I can just be like, I definitely do not want to do that. But if I didn't choose to constantly grow, to constantly learn, and I say choose because it's a choice, right? Of just being able to put myself in the seat of a student and being like, am I teachable? There's something that I read and listened to a while back. Then it's like, every day, if you can't every day, but at least once a month, but it should be done every day. It's like, how teachable are you, right? With everything, not only when you're learning in a classroom or online or anything. It's just when you have people in front of you that they're trying to give you advice, or people that are trying to they're telling you their story. How teachable are you in that moment? Because if you're not teachable, you're not moving anywhere in life, because you're not willing to take on that information that someone is giving you. It can be a teacher, but it can be also just a regular person that it's right next to you. Like, the best examples sometimes are your parents or your siblings or your friends. And it's like, sometimes they say stuff that you don't resonate with, but being open to listen to what they have to say, and maybe you can learn from there. So how teachable are you? How open are you to learning? And it's a choice ultimately.
Definitely. And when you become open to learning, naturally, you want to learn from people that know what they're talking about, right? You want to learn from people that have been there, done it, got the t-shirt, got the experience, and they're a few steps ahead. Now, the reason that I'm really emphasizing that is that at the moment, I'm now looking at a particular page, right, online. And now this is secret, so we're not going to be sharing this with anyone just yet, right? If you're listening to this on the podcast, then we will give you a link to this at the very, very end. But if you're listening to this live, we're not going to share this just yet. But the page that I'm looking at the moment, which I am so unbelievably excited about, is actually the details of a 3-day, completely 100% live training, where you're going to be introducing people to the way in which they can become an holistic coach, and the benefits as to what they receive after having become an holistic coach, and allowing these modalities into their life, but also into their business, whether they have a coaching business or not. The huge benefits of understanding and mastering holistic modalities. This is going to be an unbelievable 3 days, which is hosted by you and Lewis. And for those people that don't know, your fiance, Lewis. Maybe they've just sort of seen you two together and they're like, yeah, there's synergy there. Why are these two not together? They are. They're engaged, right? In case you guys didn't know. But Dayana, give us like a little bit of an insight into those 3 days. I'm looking forward to hearing it from your point of view, because I'm reading the details. I'm getting excited about it. But you, of course, are the creator of these 3 days. So just give me a little bit of an insight on what people can expect.
So basically, in these 3 days, you will, in a nutshell, which is something that Lewis says all the time. I can't help but say it now every time. But in a nutshell, you are going to be able to learn how to add holistic coaching into either a business, if you have one, as a coach, or just to offer that as a service, as a part-time income, right? So really learning how to monetize it how to make profit by doing something that is so fulfilling, so rewarding, that it's purposeful and that allows you to be of service, and just learning all of these different modalities. So during the 3-day training, I'm like, what is it? It's going to be like a mini course, essentially. Basically.
Yeah, for sure.
All of you that are listening, and if you decide to sign up and everything, you're going to be able to learn how to become a coach. What does it entail to be a coach? Learning all of these holistic modalities so that you can start to apply it and maybe start to generate an income, and then how to get clients based on everything that you learned. So it's a little mini course, a 3-day training, but it's a mini course essentially, because you're learning how to become a coach, how to become a holistic coach, and how to get clients. So that way you can start generating income from that. Right. And then just getting that and just getting that fulfillment and being that purposeful in your life.
I love that so much on so many different levels, right? Because when we've been talking about holistic modalities over the last couple of weeks, it's so obvious as to why it's beneficial for you as a human being to engage in holistic modalities. In my mind, it can't be argued. It can't be challenged. It would be a completely futile argument to argue against the reason as to why exploring breath work, exploring yoga, meditation, Reiki, to be able to realign ourselves, to be able to gain clarity, to be able to move forward and understand the reasons as to why we're here and what our purpose is. It's like, to me, when I hear that, I'm just like, this is life, what we're talking about. We're talking about life. Why would anyone argue against the benefits of understanding life on a deeper level, right? But then at the same time, another reason why I love it is because there is a very clear, congruent, ethical, exciting business opportunity for those individuals who are like, I would love to do this full time. I would love to actually create a business from this holistic coaching thing that I've been hearing about. I understand it. I want to engage in it. I could be very good at this. Or even at this point, if you're thinking, I don't know whether I'd be good at this, I'm a complete beginner, but there's a huge opportunity. And it aligns perfectly with the opportunity of becoming a coach in general. You know, we've been talking about this for the last couple of years now. It's one of the most incredible opportunities that there is, because what we're doing is we're having really constructive, solid conversations with people, using tools, techniques, and methods, moving them away from where they're currently stuck to where they want to be. And you're doing it completely online. And what you're going to be teaching people is how to do the same thing and be on the same mission, but with a much more holistic approach. So it's not so like masculine energy, go, 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 ask questions, take action, build something. You know, you're on the flip reverse of that, and you're exploring the much more feminine energy, holistic side of coaching, which is equally as powerful and can be delivered in the same format and is very valuable. For anyone listening to this, the idea of not attending this 3-day free training, consider it's completely free, is crazy. Like, you definitely want to be there. But yeah, Dayana, go for it. What are your thoughts?
What I was going to say is that you mentioned, you know, that regular coaching that you've been talking about is so masculine and this one is very feminine. And I agree 100%. But the beauty of holistic, you have to consider that both of those approaches, the masculine and the feminine, are both very powerful in their own. So when you do a holistic coaching, it's not just learning about all these modalities and never talking or anything like that. It's also the impact that powerful questions in the combination with tapping into yourself. So going deeper with your eyes closed, through meditation, through visualizations, and just asking the questions inwardly, right? And just asking the questions from the inside, on the inside, so that you are connected to what we call your highest self. So that person that you know you truly are, but sometimes you don't allow yourself to be. And so it is a combination of both the masculine and the energy. And that's also encompasses that whole holistic perspective, because we can't have one without the other. And that is essentially what we learn as a holistic coach, right? Mind, body, soul, and emotions, they're all connected. We can't have one without the other. It's basically not existent, right? In a person. So it's this beautiful way of the different techniques that you learn of asking very powerful questions, but with the trick of sometimes you don't need to answer it right away or reflect upon it or try to ask more questions on top of it. It's just asking one key question and then going inward and then getting that answer from deep within.
That's actually amazing as well, because that is extremely skillful coaching. When you're able to go to those kind of depths with your client through asking just one question, for instance, that's really taking coaching to its absolute pinnacle. And so what you're doing by learning holistic coaching is that you're accelerating the speed and become a very, very influential and powerful coach. Because what can happen on the flip side is you could get coaches that for years sort of continuously dig and dig and dig and ask not the same question, but that can continuously kind of like a shovel almost try to get deeper with questions and can struggle with that because they're not allowing their client to really tap into their honest, authentic self because they don't have that skill set. You know, that's a very specific skill set that you learn through holistic coaching. I'm incredibly excited to learn this. You know, I'm a coach. I'm one of the coaching masters. This is one of those tools that I want to add to my tool belt that I don't currently have. You know, so for all of the listeners of the Coaching Masters podcast that have been listening to me every week for like 100 episodes now, be at this 3-day free training for the fact also that I'm also going to be there and I'm going to be learning the exact same things that you guys are learning from Dayana. And I can't wait to learn them. You know, they're going to add something huge to my coaching tool belt. One thing as well that's worth mentioning is that there's this huge kind of blocker that people have in general, I think, when they have the idea of becoming a coach. And I hear this a lot. It's like, how could I get paid that much money to just have conversations? It's a classic misconception, blocker, fear, whatever you want to call it. Now, from a pure coaching point of view, it's a case of we're not just having conversations. The coach is asking questions in the right way at the right time and doing different tools and techniques because in their head, they're moving their client along a journey to try to get them closer to where they want to be. And being able to do that successfully is the reason why you can charge a lot of money for coaching, because if I'm able to help someone break down a limiting belief that they've had for the last 30 years and has stopped them from finding love or getting a good business or whatever, then that thing is highly valuable. I almost see what you do and the holistic modalities that you teach as that same thing, but almost like accelerated in many ways, because you can help people remove blockers or at least gain a deeper understanding of themselves to such an extent that in my mind, that's like a time machine. If I can pay someone to help me fully understand myself and what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling and help me reach my goals in that instance in a much more holistic, organic way that's more aligned with who I am, that is 100% worth paying for. You know, this is why we can charge money as very skillful coaches. What would you say in that instance are some of the main blockers, right? But whatever you want to call them, blockers, challenges, barriers, limiting beliefs. What are some of the main like negative things that people experience that they would then go to a holistic coach for to say, can you help me with this?
I think one of the main things is the unpleasant emotions and unpleasant memories that one has, right? Because I would say that most of us don't like to feel our different range of emotions, because we have a different ranges of emotions. We have the beautiful emotions that we all love to feel: joy, happiness, love, peace, calmness. And we have the emotions of anger and sadness and resentment and jealousy that people do not like to feel. And when we don't feel them, it doesn't allow us to truly feel happiness, calmness, and joy, or any of those positive emotions, because there's always going to be an underlying emotion. And so we like to go about our day-to-day lives with thinking that everything is okay. And the beauty about holistic coaching is learning how to accept those emotions and how to learn how to manage those emotions as to why not to feel. So I would say in the scale of like not to feel at a 50 or at 100, and feel them more in like a 10 rather than 100, right? And learn how to manage them and learning to appreciate those emotions as well. Because without anger, there's no happiness. There's no contrast of it. Without depression, there's also no joy or contentment in life. Without frustration, there's no calmness, right? And so feeling those two emotions, those two ranges of emotions are so, so beautiful. And when you don't allow to feel those emotions as well, it doesn't allow you to get to know your body, get to know yourself deeper, because they come at play because you're suppressing that part of yourself that is so crucial, that is teaching you something, that it's giving you a signal, that it's telling you, hey, I need to feel this, even though it feels horrible, even though I don't like it. I need to feel this because it's a part of me. And this is a little bit of something that we teach as well, that it's called like shadow work, those parts of us that we deem unworthy, that we don't like about each other, that we try to hide from the outside world. For women, the biggest one is anger. Anger is not an emotion that women like to experience because they've been told that you need to be calm and collected and all these things. And for a long time for me, anger has been something that I didn't want to unleash because I thought, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go crazy. They're going to think I'm crazy and this and that. But it's an emotion that just as men experience, I also experience. And when I allow myself to feel that anger and to release it in that moment by punching a bag or punching a pillow or screaming at a pillow, then the emotion fades away. It's done its job. And it's also teaching me that whatever happened or whatever I thought or whatever I was told, that caused an emotion. And so therefore I learn how to as well, okay, that it's not good for me, or that boundary was crossed for me. And then therefore it gives me something that I either block from my life to not continue to have that in my life, or just learn how to set that boundary and being like, that was not cool. That was not nice. And this is why I'm feeling and whatnot. So I think it gives you that opportunity of getting to know yourself. And most of us don't like to feel our emotions. So it doesn't sound appealing to wanting to do that, but it's part of life. It's almost like rain. When it rains, people hate rain or whatever. And it's just like, I find rain to be the most beautiful thing in the world because it brings life into the world. The same thing as with those unpleasant emotions, it brings life into your life because you're experiencing both opposites and therefore creating a better life for yourself.
So I love that for so many different reasons as well. Like, and as you know, when we go through the NLP modules, you know, Dayana is an NLP master herself, and we go through things like reframing, and we can kind of logically go through that process and say, if you take rain as an example, which is a great example, you know, rain to one person is a blessing and to another person it's ruined your day. And we're able to reframe the way we see rain. And therefore what we kind of hope will happen as a result is that our emotion will change towards it. It's kind of like if you've organized your child's barbecue for their 5th birthday party and it starts to rain and it creates an emotion of anger and frustration. If you're able to see it through a different lens and realize that to someone in a third world country suffering with drought, it's a blessing. In that instance, we're working towards changing our emotion. But what you do is you like go straight for the emotion. So it's powerful stuff. It's almost kind of like skipping a step in a way. And instead of kind of hoping that your emotion will change in order to, from doing something like reframing, it's like, let's address the emotion head on. Like let's actually understand the emotion and that part of the human experience. This is why it is going to be so valuable, and it is so valuable for people to pay holistic coaches to do sessions with them. I'll give you a great example, right? Someone who I consider to be somewhat of a mentor, someone who has been a part of my life for a long time, just from listening to his podcast to having like a couple of good conversations with him. And still, I watch his videos pretty much daily. A guy called Ed Milette. There's this absolutely phenomenal guy called Ed Milette, and everyone knows on this podcast. I've spoken to him about a few times. I'll definitely get him as a guest at some point, no doubt. But like, he just told this great story on a podcast episode I was listening to a couple of days ago. He was like interviewing Jay Shetty, and he was saying about how for so many years he thought in order to be successful, he needed to be angry. Like he always needed to be pissed off because that was what got shit done. And, you know, if he was really unsatisfied all the time, it meant that he was striving to the next level. And then he told this like beautiful story about how he got this mansion and he was building this mansion because he'd already made millions of dollars at that point. And he said the builders that built this mansion were like these 3 Spanish guys. And he was like, they were building the house and they were so much more happier. They were so much happier than he was. And he owned the fucking house. It was like they were dancing, they were singing, they were having a great time at work building this house. And he would walk in and he would be angry and he would be tense. And it was almost like if you were to judge people on their level of success in that moment, they were way more successful than him because they were happy and he was frustrated and angry. Now, someone like that, if someone would be able to coach someone like him to understand what it means to actually feel those emotions and have an alternative, you could very potentially save someone like that millions of dollars a year just because they keep going down the wrong hole and they keep going down the wrong path. It's all about an exchange of value, and the reason I'm really emphasizing this is because it's just such a classic misconception I always hear. But how could we really get paid that much money to have these conversations? But you got to think about the value you add into someone's life. If someone's going their entire life experiencing constant undesirable emotions, it doesn't matter how much money they've got. It doesn't matter where they live. It doesn't matter what business they've built or how many friends they've got or whether they've got their family or not. It doesn't matter about any element of their life if what they're experiencing is constant undesirable emotion. Your life may as well have just been for nothing if you get to the end of your life and you look back and you say, I was just really sad the whole time, or really angry the whole time, or really jealous the whole time, or really frustrated. And what you're able to do, Dayana, is you teach people a skill set where they can help individuals process those emotions and find an alternative in a holistic way. It's, in my viewpoint, one of the most valuable things that a human being can learn is holistic modalities, especially as a coach that wants to build a coaching business. But for anyone, it's one of the most valuable things you can learn.
No, I agree. And I know that for the UK is very different. And maybe for a lot of Europe where, going to the doctor, that is something that you get for free. So sometimes that is being taken for granted. But for someone that is, for example, in America and maybe underdeveloped countries, you have to pay to go to the doctor if you broke your bone and everything. And so you wouldn't want to go to your friend that doesn't know anything about bones to help you fix your broken arm, right? Or your broken elbow. You would go to a doctor. And if you have the opportunity to, or the ability to pay for the best freaking orthopedic doctor or orthopedic surgeon that will literally restore the mobility of your whole arm so that you can play ball again or pick up your kids again, you will invest that money in. The same thing applies for the mind and for your whole being. It's just that people don't think about it or don't see it as that because it's still something so intangible. But it's not intangible when you see the results that it can cause in your life when you really are deeply connected and experience everything that this human life has to offer. And you allow yourself to transform and grow and learn, because then, therefore, by default, your whole life changes in the most beautiful way because you begin to attract everything that you are embodying and experiencing for yourself, right? And so it's like you wouldn't pay, you wouldn't just have your friend fix your arm if you can go to the best freaking doctor. And the thing is that everybody wants to be helped. In some subconscious, very deep way, everybody wants to be helped. That they don't like to ask for help is a very different thing, and it happens often, but everybody wants to be helped and everybody wants to improve. It's just a matter of not knowing how. And that is why coaches and holistic coaches are so needed, because everybody wants better out of their life. Yeah. No one wants mediocrity, right? And just be like, I kind of like where I am. At some default, people want more. And that more, sometimes it doesn't come in the material ways. It has to first come deeply from within you in order for you to get all of those things.
That is so, so true. And that's why I'm always referring to blockers, because you're absolutely spot on. We don't often look at our life and kind of think about where we are now all the way to the end of our life and think, I don't care about any form of progression. I don't care about any form of development or growth. That just doesn't happen. Like, people want to grow. They want to develop. They want to at least see the path of their life moving forward and improving in some way. Some people have these gigantic aspirations, and it's going to be, I want all the money that I can get. I want all the fame. I want a huge family. I want all the happiness I want. And there are some people that are like, I just want to become a little bit better at what I'm currently doing, but I want consistent progression. Either way, there's not many people that I've ever met that say, you know what I want? I want regression, like consistent regret. I want to just kind of get a little bit worse at what I'm doing every day. And I want to kind of be a little bit unhappier every day until I get to the end of my life. There's always some form of like graph of progression that people are looking for, right? And these blockers that we've all got are the things that will stop us or slow us down or prevent us from getting those things. So the reason why this is so important that we're talking about this is because, like you just said, and you said beautifully, it's not like a tangible thing. You know, it's not like saying, right, I'll tell you what I do. You know, you give me £2,000 and I'll give you this, right? I'll hand you this item. But in reality, by helping people remove those blockers and further understand their emotions and find alternatives, then there's a lot of opportunity in that. You know, people are going to see opportunity that was always there that they didn't see before. They're going to be able to progress and grow and move further along with their lives. And these are things that people have lived with for years, lived with for their entire lives. So it's so unbelievably important that a coach adds this to their repertoire. But it's also important for anyone listening to this that thinks on any level that they would like to become a coach or have their own business. You've always got to be thinking about the one thing I'm always saying: the more value you add to someone else's life, the more money you make, right? It has to be a good exchange of value. And this is a phenomenal exchange of value. You're literally helping someone become a better person, a better version of who they are, to allow them to then progress through their life in a much more sufficient way, efficient way, and a much more organic and holistic way to reach where it is they want to get to. It's like helping someone become a better human being.
It really is. I mean, it is helping someone become a better human being for whatever that ideal human being it looks like for them. And the beauty of it is as well is that the more you help others, the more you create this pool of people as well that are driven to continue to grow. So there's like the tap is so unlimited. There's so much potential into it, because once you start practicing or kind of like getting yourself into the world of growing and getting help and support from others, you seek to it for it more and more each time, because you're at this level first, and then you get this person to help you at this level. And then maybe you, after that, you get to another level because that person helped you, right? And then maybe you find another person. And so it's like clients are everywhere. That's what I mean, because it's like once you start diving into yourself and you did that first step of getting yourself help, getting support from someone else, of helping, of getting that help from someone to kind of like point at you those blind spots that you already have. It's not like you become addicted to it, but you definitely are driven to continue to do it. Yeah. Right. From other people, because they're like, they want what you have. And this person, it's like, oh, maybe I'm done with this person, but maybe I look at this person. So the potential is unlimited, even within the people that have already gotten help, because you already know how much beneficial it is for you to get help from someone, that you will do it again in a heartbeat. No doubt. And so the first step is a little bit the hardest, but that's why even if you get someone in that first step, you already created that person for it to continue to work with you or to go somewhere else and continue to work with someone else. And that doesn't mean that another person can come in from another pool and come into you because you can help them in that area of their life that are their need. So it's like this like beautiful connection of like, I am imagining like neurons in the brain of just like this beautiful connection and web of people just helping each other, because some people have experiences and are experts in some areas when other people are experts in other areas and experiences in other areas, right? I don't expect to someone to come to me for someone that needs time management or productivity, because I know that I lack it myself and I am still struggling and working for it, right? Or someone that comes to me about fitness and getting ripped because I struggle to go to the gym on a daily basis. So I don't expect for them to come to me, but they can come to me for that inward journey, that for them to find themselves, right? And for them to connect deep with themselves. And that is the beauty of it, because even with holistic coaching, you can become a holistic coach, but you can help in every single different area. You don't have to focus on like diving into yourself. You can help in how do these modalities help you basically become more productive as well. Like I'm just throwing it out there, but it's true, because you can make it yourself based on your true essence of what inspires you and how you can make it yours.
It is completely true, because regardless of what somebody's struggling with, whether or not they're unhappy in their relationship, or they're unfulfilled at work, or they're not good at time management, or they're not good at rewarding themselves, or they're feeling anxiety or depression, whatever it is, in some way, there's going to be a link to the emotions that they're feeling. And so being able to explore that and find alternatives, it just is helpful for everything. You know, there's that all powerful formula that I talk about all the time. Your thoughts create your feelings create your actions, and then your actions determine the results you get in life. The actions being what you do or don't do, you know, and it all then goes back to that first part of the process, which is your thoughts and feelings. You know, they're two absolutely key elements of the entire human experience. And therefore, whatever anyone's struggling with, we can always take it back to those two things. You know, so that's why the combination of what we do is so good, because it's almost like a lot of the stuff that I do is very thought based. A lot of the stuff that you do is very feeling based. And it's just the perfect combination. You know, it really is. Dayana, I'd love to know your answer to this, because one thing I also hear a lot is that there are many individuals that would say, I would love to do this. I would love to be a coach. I would love to explore this, but I still have problems. I still have barriers. I still have limiting beliefs. And they seem to kind of have this idea that they need to be squeaky clean, like perfect, in order to even be a coach, right? So for anyone listening to this that's thinking, I'd love to become a holistic coach, but I couldn't because I still have challenges that I experience. What do you say to that?
I laugh at this question because it's so true. I know that many people do it. I have experienced it myself as well, right? How can I help with this when I don't even do that? But here's the thing. The wisdom that I hold, somebody needs that, no matter what it is. Yeah, maybe I can't help them in becoming productive, right? But that doesn't mean that I can't help them in learning for them to find how it is that they like to be productive, right? I can't just give them advice, but that is also not what a coach is supposed to do. I'm not going to be like, this is what has worked for me, because it's not something that has worked for me, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, how can I do these things if I haven't worked on myself? Honey, you're never going to be done working on yourself. It's like, it's a constant thing. Constant things are always showing up. Like it's about life. It's life, right? We're always constantly growing and learning. And the more you learn, the less you know. Yeah. And that is, when I was taught that in school, I was like, what? It blew my mind, because I'm like, yes. The whole point is that you know nothing, right? But based on what you're learning, and if you can help someone take that step forward to get to where you are mentally or emotionally and everything, that's perfectly fine. I have full vulnerability in here. I have issues. I mean, sometimes I get angry. I get defensive to my partner sometimes without me actually, for no reason whatsoever, except just my ego being hurt. And that is something that I need to work on, right? For a while, it was me being defensive. It's a big thing in my life of just being defensive and criticism in my life, right? And that doesn't mean that I can't help someone with that, because I'm going on that journey of learning not to be defensive, of accepting myself, of being teachable when someone comes to me. But that doesn't take away the fact that I can learn and teach someone or give that tool to someone so they can start to stop being defensive, right? Yeah. I don't need to be step 500 to help someone that it's on step 1. I can just be on step 3 or step 2 or step 1.5 to help that person, because they can't move from that step, right? It's like, we're never going to be 100% healed. We're never going to be 100% perfect. None of us are perfect. The only thing in nature, which I think I've said this before, is the only thing perfect is nature. And we can only strive to be it, but we're never going to be it, because there are so much involved in being human, our memories, the way that we were raised, our culture, our traditions, the way that we perceive the world. I mean, in our minds are always different. I mean, what you think, how you perceive things, how you're perceiving this episode is completely different from the way that I'm perceiving this. Yeah. And that's completely fine. It doesn't mean that we can't help each other, right? Exactly. That's so true. And I'm always saying that I find it more inspirational to follow someone who isn't perfect, who's still on the journey. You know, when you've got a coach, and we're talking like back in the 70s, right? When coaching was first
first a thing. It was like Mr. and Mrs. Perfect, like ting, perfect smile, perfect life. And it just doesn't work now. It doesn't work. Like, it's not believable. It's not inspirational. No. And it's not real. It's exactly why it doesn't work, because it's not real, and everybody knows that's not real. And so I'm always saying to the coaches that ask me about this, it's way more inspirational to say, I'm also on this journey. You know, I've not finished this journey. I'm on it. I'm just a few steps ahead. Exactly like what you just said, Dayana. I'm just a few steps ahead, and I can help you move along because I've been where you've been, but I'm not finished. I'm not perfect. And I'm still on the journey myself. These are still things that I struggle with, but I have ways of overcoming them and tools and techniques to help me understand them and move past them. So for anyone listening to this, just you in no way, shape, or form need to be the finished product, the finished article, perfect, flawless, squeaky clean. In fact, one, it doesn't exist. But in many respects, it would be a hindrance if that was your reality, because your perspective would be so fucking wildly different to everybody else's that you'd be instantly unrelatable. And therefore, that's the big reason as to why the Coaching Masters has been successful, because me and Lewis from the beginning have been so open about our flaws and so open about our struggles and the journey that we're on, that we're relatable, and therefore we can be leaders in that instance. Now, that's why I want to make that point, because with holistic coaching, it's no different, right? You can be a very successful holistic coach and still have those setbacks and still have those flaws and those challenges and not be a perfect person.
Yeah. I mean, some days I wake up in a funk, and for whatever reason, and sometimes I just allow myself to be that. But a lot of people, it's like, I woke up in a funk and this is it, and my day is just crap. I was just like, no, I woke up in a funk. I'm going to power through it. Sometimes I use my techniques. Sometimes I just let it be, because, and yeah, I shouldn't, quote unquote, I shouldn't be letting it be, because it's like, oh, try to get yourself in a positive state. But sometimes it's just me being human and just like, I don't want to work on myself today. I don't want to not get rid of this funk. I just want to be and lay in bed and just watch TV, and that's it. And I want to show up in the minimum way that I can. And that is completely okay. That's part of you accepting that those days are going to come, right? It's not me saying that every day I'm EFT tapping myself whenever I have a bad day or anything like that. I'm just like, yeah, I do it. It's useful when I can use it, and when I need it, I have it available. But some days it's just, I don't care and I don't want to do it. And that's okay, because it's part of your journey of knowing yourself, of figuring it out as well. So it's definitely not about being perfect or anything. And the more vulnerable you are, the more people resonate with you, and the more people want your help as well. Because if they feel like you're this Siri person, hello, welcome, how are you? Nobody resonates with a robot. I mean, they're emotionless. How can you help someone to experience emotions if they don't do it? Exactly. The most important thing is that you're showing up for yourself every single day. And once you show up for yourself, then you can help anybody, because then what you're giving, what you're helping, you are embodying that. And I do think that that is important. However, that's not to say that you're showing up for yourself every single minute of the day, because sometimes it's just impossible to do that. It's like, working on yourself sometimes is also really, really bad to do it like constantly. It's an addiction. And it's just, sometimes you just have to be human and just allow it to be. It's like, I don't want to do anything. I want to be a crappy human today. So I'm going to be a crappy human for myself. And that's it. And that's good. you know,
you heard it.
Showing up.
You heard it from the holistic coaching queen herself. There are days where she wakes up and she's like, fuck it, I'm just going to stay in bed and watch TV because I'm in a funk today. So you can do this. Everybody that's watching this and listening to this, you can do it, right? So Dayana, to finish this off, I want us to just very briefly, but because at this point it's not a secret. By the time the podcast episode comes out, we just can't share the link live yet. But at this point, let's have a little chat about February 8th, 9th, and 10th. Right now, 3 very significant days to put in the diary. So if you're listening to this either live or on the podcast, write down February 8th, 9th, and 10th in your diary. And I do believe we have times as well, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. UK time, right? Dayana, what's going on the 8th, 9th, and 10th?
The first day you're basically going to be learning everything that you need to learn about coaching and how to start a coaching business. And the second day, you're going to learn about holistic modalities that you can apply on top of everything that you have learned on day one. And on day 3, you're going to learn how to get clients, which is important if you want to start to get an income, a part-time income through having holistic or offering holistic coaching services. So it's this jam-packed 3-day training that I'm going to consider it's like a mini course, because it really is, of just really learning about starting a holistic coaching service practice or becoming a holistic coach, right? And just getting clients and doing that as a part-time thing.
Unbelievable. Unreal. What a 3 days this is going to be. If you're listening to this on the podcast, we will have a link for you at the end of the podcast episode. Those that are listening live, we'll have a link for you very, very soon. But just to reiterate that in terms of what a jam-packed 3 days that is. Day number 1, understanding more about the online coaching industry. Day number 2, understanding holistic modalities in depth, but specifically ones that sell as well in 2022. And then on the 3rd and final day, getting a deep insight into how to actually get paying clients for your holistic modality services, your holistic modality coaching package. Unreal 3 days. And I'm going to learn a ton over these 3 days. I'm going to be there 100% live for sure. Dayana's going to be there, of course. She's going to be there training alongside Lewis as well. Both Lewis and Dayana as a team for 3 days in a row. So don't forget 8th, 9th and 10th of February. And loads of people in the comments are just like, hell yeah, I'm there. I'm in. I'm definitely there.
I love it. It's going to be amazing. And I mean, it's 7 p.m. UK time, but for us, for Lewis and I, because we're in Bali, it's going to be the middle of the night. So we're legitimately waking up in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m. and delivering this training because we know how valuable this is and how needed this is in this world as well. We all need more service people, more leaders, more people just providing help for others, because we all need help. And when we help each other, it becomes a better world. And so this is so needed. And if this is like, you feel like it's something that you want to do, like fulfilling, and you need something that's more fulfilling, you want to do something more purposeful. I mean, it's a free 3-day live training, right? Just jam-packed with information for you to get on it. And on top of that, you must attend as well, because we're going to wake up in the middle of the night to deliver it.
Exactly. And the thing is as well, guys, really put this into perspective, because on an hourly basis, Lewis's time and Dayana's time is very expensive, right? Let alone if you're going to try to get them out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. If you were to do a 2-hour coaching session with them from bloody 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., 3 days in a row, I'm telling you right now, you're going to be paying a pretty penny for that. But yet they're going to be there, and it's completely free and it's completely live. And so they're dedicated to deliver this training for you. So be dedicated enough to be there right now. I'm going to say it again, the 8th, 9th and 10th of February, 7 p.m. UK time to 9 p.m. But recognizing that is, I believe, Dayana, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Or is it even 3 a.m. till 5 a.m.? It's one of them for you. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. It's actually 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., right? 3 days in a row. So Dayana's probably going to be getting out of bed like, I don't know, 2:15 or something, or 2 o'clock, and then like getting refreshed, getting ready. So this is literally the middle of the night that Dayana and Lewis are doing this for you guys live for 3 days. And as I mentioned, their time is very valuable, and what they're going to teach you is hugely valuable. So as I mentioned, if you're listening to on the podcast, we're about to give you a link. If you're watching this live, we're going to give you a link very, very soon. But do not forget to carve that out in your diary, because you're going to learn everything that there is to learn about becoming a holistic coach, how to get clients as a holistic coach, how to put it into your coaching offering. And even if you're brand new to coaching, you're also going to learn some insights into exactly what the coaching industry even is. So if you're very experienced or you're a beginner, this is 100% for you. Dayana, I'm very, very pleased to say that we're going to be talking again next week.
Me too.
And I've been enjoying this. This is like a whole month's worth of a theme for Power Hour and the podcast, you know. So have you got any final words to leave our listeners with this week, and knowing that at this point, we've definitely got a lot of people who are thinking, damn, I want to become a holistic coach. I want this as part of my life.
If you're doubting it or doubting and signing up for the 3-day training because of whatever reason, insecurities, or just like, is it really for me? Do you want to continue to do the things that you're doing right now without feeling that purposeful, without feeling of service, without feeling that fulfillment? Do you want to continue to do that? Because the reality is that whatever you're feeling now, that it's making you, that it's, you have this feeling that it's, you want something more for yourself or of yourself. If you don't listen to that, you'll just continue to create that in your life instead of jumping into that fear, jumping into that uncertainty. And when you start to do that, it's just, the realm of opportunities just opens up because you follow that north that is you, that you're calling. Yeah.
Finishing off with a smack. A very holistic, organic smack, though. You know, it's a smack that's definitely needed. 100%. Please ask yourself that question right now. You know, ask yourself the question that Dayana just asked. And either way, be at this training. Dayana, it has been a pleasure talking as always. And I'm super excited for next week as well, because next week we'll be able to dive into the depths of something else as well, but we're not going to talk about that yet. But yeah, it's a pleasure always, Dayana. And thank you everyone for turning up and watching live and listening to this on the podcast. Don't forget, keep coaching your way to freedom. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I was going to say, interestingly enough, Dayana actually does have the tattoo, except she goes for the boom, the full swing around,
like knocking you out with it.
Holistic knockout.
All right, freedom.
Nice one, Dayana. You're amazing, and we'll speak to you soon.
Well, thank you.
See you guys. Talk soon. Bye.